Welcome, folks. You're watching the 700 Club. I'm here with Terry. And are you sick of all this? All the stuff in the news.
Beyond sick.
It really is awful. I mean, the Democrats are throwing charges, and Sessions should resign. He's done terrible things, and then this turns out the Democrats have done exactly the same thing they're accusing Sessions of.
The crazy thing of it is, it's exactly this kind of political back and forth that elected Donald Trump.
I know.
And nobody gets it. I mean, that's just scary.
But, Fox News, which, I like Fox News, they have just focused constantly on, what about this and who said that and who did what and who tapped into what. The American people don't care about that. What they care about is their pensions. They care about their health care. They care. They get their and they care about their salaries and their cost of living. And then they want to watch TV and get entertained and not get all this hassle. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Well, if you can believe it, there's a trap the Democrats are staying for the Republicans. It's a big, broad trap. And they're saying, why don't you get into it? And the trap is called a special prosecutor. And if they ever appoint one, it's Katie bar the door, because then it becomes a expensive fishing expedition, and you never know where they're going to go. And for the Republicans who are in charge of the government to admit to allow one of those things would be absolute folly. But key members of Congress will honor President Trump's request, and they're going to investigate his claim that President Obama, when he was in office, had Trump's telephones wiretapped during the last year prior to the election.
Well, a spokesman for President Obama denied that he ordered any wiretapping, but the controversy is far from over. Gary Lane brings us the story.
President Trump started the political firestorm over the weekend when he tweeted, "Terrible. Just found out that Obama had my wires tapped in Trump Tower just before the victory. Nothing found. This is McCarthyism." The president likened the tactic to Nixon and Watergate and called the former president a bad or sick guy. President Obama's National Intelligence Director, James Clapper, is often critical of President Trump. He refuted Trump's allegations on NBC's Meet the Press.
For the part of the national security apparatus that I oversaw as DNI, there was no such wiretap activity mounted against the president-elect at the time, or as a candidate, or against his campaign.
The media quickly said the president didn't offer any evidence for his claim. So where did Trump get his information? From an intelligence briefing or news reports? Some believe it came from a Breitbart news story and claims made by conservative talk show host Mark Levin.
How many of Trump's people were eavesdropped on? How many had their conversations intercepted, recorded, transcribed? Because this, ladies and gentlemen, is the big scandal.
Levin, who worked as chief of staff for former Attorney General Ed Meese, tweeted a detailed list of links to stories from the major news media to back up his claims. They include reports about federal FISA court warrants granted allowing the FBI to conduct surveillance on Trump campaign officials. On Capitol Hill, President Trump received some pushback from members of his own party.
I've never heard that allegation made before by anybody.
On CBS's Face the Nation, Senate Intelligence Committee member Susan Collins said she's seen no evidence of what the president has alleged.
It would probably be helpful if he gave more information, but it also might be helpful if he just didn't comment further and allowed us to do our work.
The committee work includes investigating alleged Russian meddling in last fall's presidential campaign. Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton, also on the Senate Intelligence Committee, told Fox News Sunday's Chris Wallace he has, quote, seen no evidence that the Trump campaign successfully conspired with the Russian government to defeat Democratic rival Hillary Clinton. Cotton said media reports have gotten pretty far over their skis on this. Clapper also said the U.S. intelligence agencies didn't have any evidence of collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russians while he was in the government. The president's wiretap allegations are now likely to be included in congressional investigations of possible Russian interference in the presidential campaign. And Democrats are unlikely to let go of possible Trump campaign ties to the Russians, although so far there is no evidence to support those allegations. Gary Lane, CBN News.
Breathless. Jay Sekulow of the American Center for Law and Justice is with us now. Jay, former Attorney General Michael Mukasey thinks that Trump was correct about surveillance. He believed it was ordered by the Justice Department. Do you think there's any truth to that?
Well, what General Mukasey's talking about is surveillance on Trump Tower. It may not have been, and there's no way to know. These FISA proceedings are under seal, so there's no way to know what exactly took place here. So is it possible that there were wiretaps at Trump Tower where you've got a Russian bank operating? Very possible. I don't know. Here's what I do know, that there are leaks within this government. And these leaks are what's causing these stories and causing the speculation. And whether the president reacted to stories he read or whether it was based on information that he had received, the fact of the matter is there is existing in these agencies, it's what we've called a shadow government, a deep state, that is getting information out. And they're leaking information. So this is now going to be part of a congressional investigation. But, Pat, the bottom line here is we don't know. But this is beyond the pale of acceptability when you've got this massive leak. For instance, the Jeff Sessions whole discussion starts because of leaks. Everybody's forgetting that. It started because of leaked information about taps or conversations between the then Senator Sessions and the ambassador to the United States from Russia. And that was leaked. So that's what's going on here is the leaks.
Well, Trump really should start firing people, but he can do it, can't he? Why is he waiting so long? Go ahead.
It's tough, Pat. It's hard to do because they're civil servants. They have these civil servant protections. One of the things that we've proposed in a series of policy positions we advocated over the last 24 months was that you convert the civil service into a merit-based organization. If you do your job, you get paid and you get bonuses and you get raises. If you don't do your job, you get fired, like in any other industry. But it's going to take a sea change to do that. But let me tell you what you can't do. You can't leak classified information. That's a crime. And I think what the FBI needs to do is get on top of this, and so does the Department of Justice. They need to plug these leaks. This is absurd. It's happening. It's happened before, but it's at a record rate now. It's happening every other day. And I think it's just going to be, it's kind of you're moving from, I heard you and Terry talking at the beginning of the broadcast, we're moving from scandal to scandal, so to speak, or from issue to issue or leak to leak. You can barely catch your breath to keep up with it.
You know, there's a report out that Comey has been asking the Justice Department to repudiate their own president. That's absurd, isn't it? I mean, if Comey's doing that,
there's a guy that needs to go.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, he's got a 10-year term. How do they get rid of him?
Yep. Well, you can't because he doesn't serve at the pleasure of the president. They do these overlapping terms so that they're non-political. But look, I mean, James Comey, how he could say anything to anybody right now with the statements he's made, quite frankly, with the intervention into the political campaign between Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton and then Republican nominee Donald Trump and his 3 times engagement into that process, which was unprecedented in our history, but really outrageous. No matter if you're a Republican, Democrat, or independent, you don't want the FBI doing that. And by the way, if they did tap, and like I said, I have no evidence of this. I haven't seen FISA. We wouldn't see FISA information. If they tapped Donald Trump conversations while he was running for president of the United States, which if they got a FISA warrant, this would be some incursion into the political life of the country. And if on top of that they got the tap and there was nothing there, what a blunder this whole thing would have been. But again, you know, if they had information to go to a judge to get a tap on Donald Trump's phones, hard to believe as that is, and they're denying it, of course. Who knows? I mean, I think right now what you got to have is get back on a program, get back on policies, and stop these leaks.
Well, it looks like Trump's going to have to go around it and go beyond it. If he gets enmeshed in it, I mean, they've got him in this morass, and it's like the tar baby thing. You just can't get out of it. So Trump's got to start getting tax bills through, repeal Obamacare and all that. He's got to get those big issues and take care of them.
Well, we're supposed to get the exempt order today that would clarify the previous order. They roll that out and get that done. We have the situation with Jeff Sessions. I hope and trust that's behind us. Jeff Sessions is not only a good man, he will be a great attorney general. He's just got to be able to do his job without these distractions. But, you know, I think, Pat, the concern that I have is exactly what you just said, and that is get back onto the focus, get back onto the mandate of why you got elected, and don't get caught up in these sideshows. This is Washington. I mean, I've been dealing with this for 27 years. I mean, this is what Washington does. You can't get caught up in it. You can't take it. As somebody told me, and and that was you years ago. Don't take this personally. Don't let these news articles get to them. It's fish wrapper the next day, and just go do your job.
That's
that
right.
was wise advice from Pat Robertson in 1993.
They wrap fish in yesterday's newspapers. That's the word. And you can't get caught up. One last thing. We had a special prosecutor in that Valerie Plame issue who knew exactly who leaked. He knew the name of the person in the State Department who done it, and yet they crucified Scooter Libby. I mean, another one of those, a guy on the make, so to speak, put him in give him that power?
If the Republicans allow this, after everything that Bill Clinton went through during his presidency and Barack Obama with the Justice Department on this last go-round, and now they're going to appoint a special prosecutor, no. The Republicans need to say no. That's unacceptable. Don't do that.
Well,
mistake.
My advice in spades. Jay, thank you for being with us. God bless you.
Thank you, Pat.
Man, this is this is the greatest nation on earth. We cannot allow this nation to be dragged into this swamp. And I would call on the Democrats to stop this stuff. I mean, stop it. Donald Trump is the elected president of the United States. And he isn't just a punching bag. He is a president, and he's a good president. He's going to be a great president, but all of us need to be together. And if he goes down, the country goes down. He represents America. We want him looking good overseas. We want him strong with our allies and our foes. And we do not need this internecine warfare going on. It's time to stop. Become Americans, guys. Neither Democrat nor Republican nor Independent, but Americans, and let's all work together for the common good.